Hello everybody, welcome back to What If Deku Was Digidestined? And this is part 1. So, last time Zuko was unofficially introduced to his Digimon. And by the way, his digivice is a phone. So, he don't need to buy one. Anyways, let's get to the what if. Inko had made a little extra supper for the creatures because she didn't want them to go hungry. Although both her and Izuku were curious on how they ate their food, as they physically didn't have mouths. After everyone finished eating, Inko says, "So, how did they get here, Izuku?" And, I don't know. They just appeared on the table after the screen glowed a lot, Izuku responded. Okay, what happened before that? Inko asked. Zuko explains everything about what happened, and that the screen was acting up. Zuko, you should have gone to me as soon as you noticed that the screen was acting up like that. Zuko looks down and says, I'm sorry, Mom. Inko then says, look, we don't know what those things are, and if they need something special to survive or anything about them, other than the fact that they are friendly. You just need to be more careful so something like this doesn't happen again, okay? Zuko nods and says, okay. Ingo then says, how about you go take your bath? The water is ready for you. I'll try to find a spot for them to sleep with tonight. Zuko slowly looks towards Inko and says, are you going to get rid of them? I don't want them to go. Inko then says, no, I'm not gonna get rid of them, sweetie. It will be safer for everyone if they stay here. Zuko smiles a bit and goes off to take his bath. Once Zuko finishes his bath and goes to bed, Inko had finally made a spot for the creatures to sleep, and went to look for them around the house, only to find them cuddled up to Izuku in his bed. Inko smiles and closes the door to Izuku's room. As she leaves, she thinks to herself, I'll move them into Izuku's room tomorrow. They seem quite attached to him right now. The next morning, Izuku wakes up with the strange creatures and leaves his room to do his morning routine, while the creatures are looking for the strange phone that they came with. Eventually, the red creature finds the device and makes its way over to Izuku, with the black one trailing behind it. Izuku sees them, motioning for him to take the phone. Izuku is confused by this, but grabs the phone. It suddenly turns with a white glow. The colors on the phone change to green and black instead of the plain gray it was before. Izuku is confused and shocked. He doesn't know what happened. He tries tapping on the phone, but nothing happens. Eventually, he points the phone to the red creature, and suddenly an image pops up, and underneath it, red text, Punimon. Zuko is confused. Zuko then looks to Punimon and says, Punimon? Is that your name? Sorry about the voice crack. Punimon then has a happy expression on its face as it hops up and down. Zuko then points the phone to the black creature, and then the image changed, and the text read, Bodamon. Zuko then says, and you're Bodamon? Bodamon does the same thing. Zuko, super excited by his discovery and what had just happened, ran over to Inko and started explaining everything super quickly. He's super excited about what this device is and what it could do. Inko then calms Zuko down, saying, Okay, sweetie, you're going a little bit too fast for me. How about you slow down and tell me what happened? Zuko then slightly calms himself down and says, Bodamon and Punimon came over to me with the phone. Once I grabbed it, it changed color. Inko then says, Bodamon and Punimon? Did you name them? Oh wow, I'm having a lot of voice cracks right now. Oh wow. Sorry about that. Anyways, Zuko says, No, I pointed the phone towards them and it showed me a picture and their name. Inko is a little bit skeptical about this. However, Zuko points the phone towards Punimon, and the image and Punimon's name shows up on the phone once again. Inko is shocked by this, and also shocked that the phone had changed color at all. Inko is taking a seat to try and think about this. Whatever those creatures are, they are not a quirk, from what she knows, but they seem to be directly connected to her son in some way. She's concerned. However, she thinks that getting the government involved will only make things worse. So, naturally, like any mother or person, she would call up her friend, Mitsuki, and tell her about everything that's going on. Mitsuki would be confused and not really sure of what's going on. She knows that Inko wouldn't lie to her about something like this, but she still can't really believe it. Mitsuki then says that they can meet up later today after school. Hopefully she'll be able to figure something out with her. Inko and Mitsuki hang up, and Izuku had gotten all of his stuff together for school that day. He was waiting at the table with a little bit of a somber expression on his face. Inko had asked what was wrong, and Izuku says, I'm gonna have to tell everyone I'm quirkless. They've already been so mean to me. I'm scared. Inko is a little bit concerned for Zuko, and then says, well, how about this? If you're scared about them not liking you because you don't have a quirk, how about you bring Bodamon and Punimon along with you? Sure they aren't. I'm pretty sure they aren't a quirk, but it still is really cool, right? Inko's eyes meet Zuko's, as Zuko's eyes are kind of glowing. They have a spark of joy in them, and Zuko is super excited for the school day now. Inko gives Zuko his breakfast and gets all of them into the car before driving them down to the school. Bodamon and Punimon are, well, naturally sitting with Izuku. And once they get to the school, the three of them hop out of the car, with Inko following shortly after. Punimon hops onto Zuko's bag, with Botamon hopping onto Zuko's head. Zuko is then walking excitedly over to the playground that morning, and Inko leaves him by the gate. Some of the kids notice the two strange creatures with Zuko, and so do the teachers. They notice that Inko left Zuko's with the creatures there, but they don't know what they are. The teachers ask about these creatures, since, Zuko doesn't have a quirk. And Zuko says that he doesn't really know anything other than the fact that they're friendly. The teachers are a little bit concerned, but since they didn't attack Zuko, whatever they are, and Zuko says that they're friendly, they think that they should at the very least keep a close eye on them. There's not really anything else they can do. Later that morning, it's announced to the class that Zuko's quirkless. However, Zuko wasn't in the room at the time, and when he enters with Punimon and Botamon. Everyone is confused, thinking that he lied, although Zuko isn't lying. Bakugo starts to get frustrated, and saying that he's lying, he has to have a quirk if he has those things. Although people do think they're cool, and are asking Zuko about them. Zuko still doesn't know much other than their names, Botamon and Punimon. And naturally, Bakugo thinks that if they aren't a quirk, then he can just, take one, right? It's not like he can really defend himself. Although, then again, he could just be lying, and these things could be his quirk. The teacher... Sorry about that, the recording just randomly stopped for some reason. Anyways, the teachers, for about the 5th time, say that Zuko's quirkless, and finally managed to quiet down the class, saying that Zuko's officially registered as quirkless, and that not only did his mother say so, but so did the doctors in the hospital. All of the kids in Zuko's class are extremely confused. As confused as the teachers were when they first saw Botamon and Punimon. The kids and, Zuko are slowly learning more about Botamon and Punimon as the days go on. Not the days, the day goes on. Sorry about that. Eventually, though, they reach gym class. And oh boy, was this a gym class. You see, they had to bring in a substitute phys ed teacher. And this phys ed teacher was going to make sure that these kids, even though they were kindergartners, were worked to the bone. At least for one day. Unfortunately, that day was the first day. The exercises, all in all, were tough, and the teacher even had to make specialized exercises on the spot for Bodemon and Punimon because he wanted to make sure that everyone was exercising, no matter what they were. So, the first thing they needed to do was, well, run around the gym. About 3 laps. It may not sound like that much now, since it's a basic middle school or preschool gymnasium, but it's still a lot for the kids. They had only a minute of rest, enough time for everyone to get a drink of water before they moved on to the next exercise. The teacher was lenient with the kids taking breaks to breathe. However, the teacher wanted to make sure everyone had completed the exercises before moving on to the next one. The next exercise was having everyone do jumping jacks for about a minute. Punimon and Bodemon had to hop in the spot as high as they can, as fast as they could. Eventually, about a minute and a half later, since some people were taking breaks, they moved on to their next exercise, skipping. They had to skip in the spot for about a minute as well. In groups of 4, 2 people would be swinging. Sorry about that. My dad just wanted me to give one of my dogs their medicine. Anyways, in those groups of 4, 2 people would be swinging the jumping ropes, and 2 would be, well, jumping. Bodemon and Punimon would be the exception, as those, 2 people who had already finished their jump rope exercises early would need to swing the skipping rope for Bodemon and Punimon. It was about 3 minutes later when they got to the next exercise. They did several different basic fitness exercises. The teacher was also setting up an obstacle course in the background, and eventually managed to go through all of the basic exercises and got the kids to run through it. At the end of the period, the gym teachers said, "Alright, that's enough. You've gone through everything. All of you deserve a break. Don't expect tomorrow or the rest of the days I'm here to be this tough on you." A lot of the kids breathe a sigh of relief, and Bodemon and Punimon start to glow. Izuku is shocked. Everyone's a little bit scared. They all start to back up. And you know what time it is. So, Bodemon and Punimon evolve. Bodemon evolves to Koromon. And Punimon evolves to Sunomon. I do not know how to pronounce his name. I'm just gonna go Sunomon or Sunomon, whatever. So, Zuku, he points his phone towards the 2. He gets their names. And I'm gonna say that they already know the fact that they're Digimon. Okay? So, Zuku says, Koromon? Koromon then says, "Yep, that's me." And he moves one of his ears into a saluting position. And then he points the phone towards Sunomon. He's like, "Sunomon?" And Sunomon says, well, I'm just gonna say he says this because, like, I'm not sure if this is correct myself. If it is, then retcon this next sentence. He says, well, almost. But you're close. As I said, if Sunomon is this one's name and how you pronounce it, then retcon that sentence. Just pretend it never happened, okay? So Izuku's like, how do you know how to, well, speak? And Koromon replies, we've always known, we just haven't had the ability until now. And Izuku's like, okay, what are you? And in unison, they say the classic line. You probably know the line if you've watched the original adventure anime. You know, when they're first introduced. They say, we're Digimon, digital monsters. And everyone just starts freaking the fuck out. Like, seriously, you know. They're like, monsters? Oh my god, they're gonna kill us all. You know, they're freaking out. However, you know, Zuko's not scared. And eventually, like a few seconds after, Koromon says, we're your partner, Digimon. And Sunomon says, we're here to protect you and help you along your journey. So everyone, they calm the fuck down. Okay? Because they realize, they now know that those literal fucking monsters are there to protect Izuku. So Bakugo's super jealous. Like, how did a quirkless, worthless loser get actual fucking monsters? Like, then again, they aren't very strong. But he's still jealous. Okay? You know, he's... From this point forward, he's a little bit more rude to Izuku than in canon. But, Izuku is... hashtag popular boy. Right? This doesn't get into the media. Like, instantly. It does get into the media, but, like... You'll see later on, because it isn't gonna be in this part. But, yeah. So, I'm gonna say that a few weeks go by. You know. Koromon and Sunumon has explained what Digimon are to Izuku, Inko, Mitsuki, Bakugo, you know, Izuku. And they explain that, you know, Izuku's digidestined, one of the chosen few to protect the digital world from just evil. So he was literally born a hero. Although technically everyone's digidestined, it's just he exemplifies two of the crests the most. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, a few weeks have gone by. Everyone has adjusted to Koromon and Sunamon being in school with Izuku, and Izuku's semi-popular, but only because of Koromon and Sunamon. And Izuku knows this. He doesn't actually have any genuine friends. and he actually has self-confidence. Let's just say that he's actually confident in this one. And yeah, Bakugo, he's picking on a kid, right? This kid has a weak quirk. And before you say anything, no, this is not Momo. I know that, like, a bunch of people in their what ifs replace the random nobody with Momo to introduce her. But I ain't doing that, you fools. Anyways, I've said anyways a lot. Wow. But back to the what if. So, Zuko, he walks up, Koromon and Sunamon, they haven't noticed yet. They were eating. And Zuko says this whole speech about protecting the kid. And Bakugo, he's all like, well, the only reason why you're popular is because of those Digimon with you. And even then, those Digilosers aren't even that powerful. He pretty much sends his goons after Deku. And I'd say that he's gotten a little bit of training in. He knows the very basics of combat. Like, a little bit more than Bakugo and his goons. So he's able to fend them off for a little bit, but it isn't enough because they have quirks. Right? So eventually, like, Izuku, he's like all panting. He's barely standing on his feet. He's taken a good beating. And Bakugo's like about to throw an explosion at Deku. And Koromon and Sunamon suddenly jump in the way. And they start to glow. And then Koromon shouts out, Koromon, Digivolve 2! And Koromon digivolves to Agumon. And wow, I've really messed this up. But yeah, he digivolves to Agumon, and Agumon shouts out his name. So Bakugo's backs, like, he's about to back up. And then Sunamon, like, these happen, like, in very quick succession. So Sunamon shouts out, Sunamon, Digivolve 2, or whatever the proper pronunciation of his name is. And then Sunamon digivolves to Gabumon. So, Bakugo, he's a little scared now. And Agumon and Gabumon are just eyeing him in a combat-ready position. So Bakugo, he backs off, right? And Agumon and Gabumon, they're like, they're just standing there, and this has gone super far from the organized thing that I wanted. Like, I was barely able to complete the basics of what I wanted the script to be. Oh god. But, yeah. So, Agumon, he runs over to Izuku, and he says, "Are you okay?" Gabumon, he's there as well. Gabumon's holding Izuku up, One of the teachers comes out, sees Agumon and Gabumon, and like, she's just like, "What the heck? What happens to the other two little things?" And like, everyone there, like, except Bakugo, is like, they turned into those. And Bakugo, he's a little bit scared now because he can get in trouble. And he didn't want to fight a miniature T-Rex. So, that happens. Bakugo and his goons actually get in trouble this time. Azuku is thanked, although he's thanked for trying, not thanked for actually doing anything. People are kinda scared of Agumon and Gabumon, because even though they're super friendly, they're still monsters. And at the end of the school day, Inko is kinda scared, and Izuku explains that they evolved again. Inko hadn't actually gotten used to calling Bodamon and Punimon, Koromon, and Tsunomon, so she now has to change her autocorrect to Agumon and Gabumon, which are actually easier to say to me. Probably because they were said so much. So, yeah. Inko, she's like, okay. I still don't know how to think about this whole evolving thing. Eventually they're gonna get so big that they won't be able to fit in the house anymore. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You already know this is going to happen at some point. But, anyways, Inko, she takes Zugu, Agumon, and Gabumon home. And Zugu, he gets ready for his new life-ish, because he declares that he's gonna start training harder. And Agumon and Gabumon, they're gonna start training too. So, yeah. That's it for the what if. I know near the end there, it was only the very beginning that was super good, because it was actually scripted. Up to, what was it? Izuku getting the gray phone was actually scripted, but, everything after Izuku grabbing the phone for the first time was not written down as a proper script. I had to base the rest of the episode off of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 script notes. Hopefully this doesn't seem too rushed. And, yeah. That's all. Thank you for watching.